Hello and welcome back to the executive branch videos. Throughout the course of this video, we're going to be looking at all of the different roles that the president fulfills as the leader of the executive branch. So getting started, the first one that we're going to look at is the role of head of state, okay? So as head of state, the president is responsible for representing the nation and basically being like the face of the United States. So when people in other countries think of the United States of America, one of the first things that pops into their head is the president, okay? The president is also responsible for hosting visiting diplomats. And that word diplomat, it refers to someone from another country, like another leader from, for example, the government in the United Kingdom. That would be a diplomat. And as president, he's supposed to host them, welcome them, kind of show them how awesome America is, I guess you could say. As the chief executive, the president is responsible for first and foremost executing the laws that Congress passes because that is his job as the leader of the executive branch. He also has the authority to issue pardons, reprieves, amnesty, and one other thing I didn't list on there is executive orders. So really quickly running through what these three are. A pardon is a full release from punishment. So for example, if someone is on death row, maybe they write a letter to the president or they write a letter to the governor of a state asking for a pardon. And if that person is pardoned, then they are fully released from any punishment that they have. Everything is just wiped clean, okay? A reprieve is a postponement of punishment. So maybe you committed a crime and you're supposed to report to federal prison on February 1st. Well, then if you're granted a reprieve, maybe the president would say, okay, so you don't have to go on February 1st, you can report on April 1st. He can also grant amnesty, which is a group pardon, like a pardon for a group of people. We most commonly hear that word amnesty in discussions about illegal immigration. So granting amnesty to illegal immigrants would basically say, okay, I know you broke the law, but we're going to pardon all of you from that crime and allow you to do something in the United States. The one term that I didn't put on there was executive orders. And an executive order is something that the president can sign, can put into action that kind of has the weight of law. So it's like a law, but it doesn't have to go through the bill to law process that we've learned about in Congress. So another responsibility is the chief legislator, and we could also kind of put executive orders down here too. But as chief legislator, his main job is to propose legislation to Congress and give them ideas for what bills they should be pushing for. And one of the main ways that he does this is through the State of the Union address, and we saw that earlier this year. He also has the veto power, so the president can veto bills that are presented to him by Congress. Remember that if a bill is vetoed by the president, it goes back to the House in which it originated, and Congress can vote to override the president's veto with a 2/3 vote in each House. That doesn't happen very often because it takes a lot to essentially disagree with the president. All right, moving on to the economic planner. As the economic planner, the president is responsible for submitting a budget. And as we've been talking about this year, we watched the government go through a historic shutdown when Congress and the president couldn't get together and agree on how much they were going to spend, what programs they were going to fund, what programs were not going to be funded, whether or not we were going to have a wall. All of those different things go into the federal budget. And as we've seen, if we can't get an agreement on what we're going to do with the budget, then the government shuts down. And then a whole bunch of stuff happens as a result of that. But dealing with the budget, that's pretty much the president's main role as the economic planner. He is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So this tells us that he is responsible for directing military strategy. And this is where it gets kind of confusing because according to the Constitution, the president does not have the authority to declare war, but he can make war as the commander-in-chief of the military. So one of the ways that he can do that is he could send troops overseas to another country for a specific period of time to kind of conduct a military operation, and then he can bring them home. And we'll talk about a specific act called the War Powers Act that kind of dictates what the president can do and what he can't do in regards to the military. So next, the president is also considered the party leader. So the party that he's representing whenever he's in office, they kind of look to him to be the face of their party, to help execute the party platform. And that phrase, party platform, is something you probably want to jot down in your notes. A party platform is kind of like all of the ideas and the agenda of that specific political party. But as party leader, he's supposed to help direct that. As the chief diplomat, he is supposed to, again, kind of be the face of the United States, dealing with foreign policy. So if you watch the news at all, you know that the president doesn't just sit in the White House in Washington, D.C. He travels a lot. He just got back from a meeting with China, with North Korea. He's been traveling in Europe. All of those different things are different ways that the president kind of promotes the United States and promotes the interests of the United States on the world stage. And with that, the president can also deal with treaties. And he can promote, or he can suggest a treaty. And when he makes that treaty, it doesn't just immediately go into effect. It has to be cleared through the Senate. The Senate's responsible for approving presidential treaties. So with that, I will go ahead and stop. And if you guys have any questions, let me know.